All right, all right. Welcome, 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 everyone. Please, we need your grace on tonight. What y'all think say on that right side, Branden Mims? Y'all got something to say, something about grace on that side. Something about if you want to get it, you got to give it too.
Yeah, something like that.
We need y'all grace on tonight, Ginger.
I think it says grace isn't grace unless it's practice.
Yes. We practice right now tonight. We need it, y'all. Y'all know we in our new spot. Y'all know we in our new spot because if you've been purging with me, you know that we have moved to a new location and our internet went down today and it's been a mess. The Spectrum people been out here. Even the president came out because I was like, listen, I got to do my podcast. The Lord told me to do this podcast and I got to go on tonight. So everybody was here trying to get us on, and so we apologize. We had to come on later tonight than usual. So but I know y'all gonna be here for it. So we're gonna give y'all a chance to get logged on, get logged in, and share to your guests, your friends, your family members. We couldn't get that flyer out sooner because, like I said again, everything just shut down, went down on me. So we're gonna have to watch the replay. But this is a good segment tonight, and I need y'all to be here for it, in place, ready to learn and get some of this wisdom and insight from our guests that we have on tonight, Mr. and Mrs. Branden Mims. I love it. I love it. We giving them a chance, y'all. If y'all want to share right quick, the YouTube page is at Kelly Neal. I'm sorry, at the Neal Appeal Show on YouTube, and then y'all can catch us right here live on Facebook. So my viewers are kind of like split because some people still they not down with the YouTube yet, and so it take them a little while to get. So they don't like change. They don't like change. I'm trying to come up and grow up, and they won't come with me. What is that? What is that, preacher?
I'm still anti TikTok, so they working on me.
Well, listen. Couple of more seconds. How was y'all's day today?
Busy.
Pretty good. Jumping back into the swing of things. Where our 5-year-old started kindergarten. I guess it's been 3 weeks now. So just still trying to get into the rhythm and the routine. It was nice having yesterday off, but now back to it, back in the swing of things.
Right. And you got a 5-year-old and a
2-year-old son.
2-year-old.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. You got your boy and your girl.
Yes.
Yeah.
How perfect was that?
2 going on 20.
Oh yeah. 2 going on. He keeps us busy.
Wow. Well, we want to get started because we know it's already late. Central time is 8:26 for y'all, but over here on the Eastern time, it is 9:26 for us. So we want to get started because I don't want to slight y'all. I need y'all to get every piece of information out that you have for us tonight because this is going to be great, y'all. So tonight's conversation is one that brings theology and therapy and transformation all together, right? So we got in Kansas City, Missouri.
Yeah.
We got Mr. Brother Preacher, Pastor, whatever you want to call him, Branden Mims and his wife Sharee, and they're leading the work there that doesn't just preach discipleship, honeys and babies. They are making disciples. They are doing it in action. From responding to the tragic Super Bowl shooting. I know y'all remember that. That just happened last year, the tragic Super Bowl shooting, to walking alongside men and women in recovery, baptizing people every week. We just came from there. Pew went to sing there. They had a baptism. They ain't lying. We saw it with our own eyes. They had a baptism last Sunday before. And look, their ministry is just proof that the church is alive and active in the community. So we're so honored to have you two with us on tonight. We want to jump right into it, get right into it. Branden, you are so knowledgeable about this church and the communities. I need you to come back and do like some kind of something workshop. Help these other preachers, please. You have some really good information that I think will be so helpful. But tonight we want to focus on how something that made national news, that Kansas City shooting, when the Chiefs, was it right? It was the Chiefs Super Bowl just last year in February. At the parade, something broke out, right? And your church, y'all have a whole article in the Christian Chronicle. What'd I do with it? Oh yeah, y'all have an article, beautiful article. I read it, and I just want to talk about some of the stuff in that tonight because everyone didn't get a chance to read it, and I think they need to hear what this great man of God. Why they put that D on man? Like, I didn't do that. I don't know what that is about, but I want them to hear from the man of God.
The man of God.
And his beautiful wife, Sharee, and what y'all are doing in the community. So, Fred, you got anything you want to say before we get opened up?
No, just still elated, Branden, with you guys inviting
Ginger,
us
come
in.
here.
Had a marvelous time. It was our first time in Kansas. I actually have I got a few friends out there. They because of the weekend, they didn't get a chance to come by and fellowship with us or what have you. But I'm sure, hopefully in the near future, we'll get to link up with those guys and invite them over to the greater Metropolitan Church of Christ or what have you, and see the big things that you guys are doing in the area.
Yeah, no, we enjoyed having you on. Y'all tore the house down.
What up?
We're gonna have to rebuild it after this week. Y'all ain't have to do us like that.
Hey, but that's the only way we show up, bro.
So listen, Branden, the article starts off with you, right? And I don't know how to tell them how to get to it, but all y'all got to do is just listen, pay attention. Y'all can go back and watch the replay or whatever. But it says, Kansas City, Missouri, even before the mass shooting at the Kansas City Chiefs Super Bowl victory rally, Branden Mims was focused on reducing violence in this city that amassed a record 182 homicides in 2023. That is a lot. Can you tell us what was on your heart at that time, and how did you see God leading you to step into what y'all are doing? And we're going to get into the greater impact and all that, but come on and tell us a little bit about, let's back way up. Can y'all tell us a little bit about you and Sharee, please? How long y'all been married? Where did y'all meet? And then we're going to jump into business.
Go ahead, you start. You got it.
We've been married. We just celebrated our 7th wedding anniversary on the 26th of August. So we have been married for 7 years. I think we've been together, 12? About 12 years. Yeah. So it's been a wild ride. We met at the church he formerly was a minister at, and it's the church that I grew up in. And so he came to Kansas City, Missouri to be the senior minister there. And my parents actually met him first. And my mom told him, I have a daughter, and if you meet her, you will love her. And I'm like, Mama, what?
Now, mind you, that's the first time I'd ever met.
And that was the first time he had met my mother.
Oh, wow.
I know. And so happenstance.
Yeah. And so we met. I had no idea who her mother was. It was her mother who said that to me. And then later on, when she introduced me to her mother, I was blown away because I was like, oh, this is the lady that told me, if you ever meet my daughter, you're going to marry her.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
And
you did.
I did.
So y'all have 2 kids, a boy and a girl, 5 and 2. Y'all already have shared that. And Sharee, did you think you were going to be a preacher's wife?
No, not at all. I'm not familiar with this lifestyle, if you will. Grew up in the Church of Christ. My grandmother was a Sunday school teacher in the Church of Christ. And so that is familiar to me, but had no idea. But one thing that I love about Branden, that I love about my husband, is that we truly built a friendship when we
nice.
first met. And I cared about him as a person. I wanted to know him as a person, not what I think some people might be attracted to, the sort of pomp and circumstance that comes with being with a minister or being in that particular lifestyle. But I love him for who he is. And it's a cherry on the top that I get to learn from him and that he's my minister. And so, yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah, I actually didn't want to do that to her. I said, "You're such a nice person. I don't want to put you in ministry." And she kept saying, "Why are you saying that?" I'm like, "I really don't want to do this to you." I felt so bad, even though I was going to marry her, but I felt bad that I was going to come with you.
Branden, listen, you said something in church on worship on Sunday. I called you the other night to ask you about, because I wanted to hear more about the community work that y'all are doing, right? And so one thing he said, y'all listen to what he said. He said, my wife, he said, now I ain't perfect. I ain't perfect. He said, my wife, she can go off on me. I'm paraphrasing, okay? Y'all know we be like, yeah, it was a good sermon, and they be like, what it was about. You be like, I don't know. But I'm paraphrasing, so I think I'm doing a good job right now. But the point was, Sharee, he said, you said, you know why I don't go off on you like I could, or the things I could say to you.
Yeah.
Because I honor God.
Yes.
So I can, and I turned around, I start trying to find where you was, because I needed to see who this lady was. She's from heaven, ain't she? She sent from up above. What you mean? You huh? And I was just like, oh, they doing that right now? They doing that? And it just gave me some language and some hope for loving on my husband in a very special way. He can't get me upset, huh?
We have a unique dynamic. We live together, we work together, we're both in ministry full time. And so sometimes I'm walking past conference rooms and she's in there in staff meetings, and so we could be together all day on any given day and all night and everything else. And so a lot of people tell me, I couldn't do that. You couldn't be my husband, my minister, my boss, everything else. I couldn't do it. And I never think about it that way, because we've just been in ministry together for a lot of years. And so it just is what it is. And she does her thing. One thing I told her when we got together is carve out your own lane. You don't have to be the traditional preacher's wife or what you think it is, and do your thing. And so there are a lot of preacher's wives that do a lot of traditional preacher wives things, but she's doing therapy and leading leading all kind of events at the church. So she's doing a great job. She just does her own thing, and I support her and give her whatever she needs.
Okay, so tell us, let me give you all of these, because I'm gonna let you just ride, Branden. So I'm gonna give you a couple of things to answer, and you figure out how you want to put it all together. So my first question was, what was on your heart at the time of what happened with the shootings and stuff, right? And how did you see God leading you to step into being able to help? And then you'll be telling us about Greater Impact, right? You all have served more than 400 shooting victims in 2023. That's staggering. That is, wow. What does that service actually look like week to week? So can you can answer that however you want to.
You know what's funny? Actually, I'm gonna give that to her because she leads that team.
Yeah. So through Greater Impact, we have several different programs. One of our programs is called Strive, and it's through Combat, which is funded through Jackson County. And through that, so I'm the clinical director of Greater Impact. And through that role, I perform individual therapy. I do group therapy, like processing groups, and I also sort of oversee the victim services portion of Greater Impact. So anyone that's referred to our program, whether they be a non-fatal shooting victim, if they are family members of a homicide victim, if they are someone that's just come across the name Greater Impact in our phone number and are in need of any type of community service, I review that information, kind of figure out what's the best fit or who do they need to meet with, what kind of resources are appropriate, and then I sort of delegate that to our community support staff, which are other ministers that are also a part of Greater Metropolitan Church, and they also work for Greater Impact as well. And so some of those services are, I mean, if you can imagine those that are the victim of some type of violent crime, have lost a family member to homicide, you're in a crisis at that point. And as a clinician, I'm always thinking about the needs of a person. And there's something called Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And I often use that as a way to kind of figure out how a person is flowing through life. At the bottom of Maslow's hierarchy of needs are your basic needs. That's safety, that's food, shelter, clothing. And at the top of that is self-actualization. That's where you feel like you've sort of reached the peak of life and you've sort of come to be, maybe feel fulfilled in your purpose of life. But you can't get there if you don't know if you can feed your family. You can't get there if your house has been shot up and you no longer feel safe laying your head down at night. You can't get there if your babies don't have a winter coat and it's about to be below zero outside. And so oftentimes the services that we're providing are some of those basic tangible needs. They need food. They need help with rent. Sometimes they're out of work because of the violent crime that's impacted them and they've fallen behind. A lot of crime follows poverty, right? People are going to get it how they need to get it right, wrong, or indifferent. And so a lot of that looks like very tangible needs. And once they've had some of their basic needs met, then they might come to me for some individual crisis therapy, for some trauma work, for some grief work. And I will give them as many sessions as they need at no cost to them. And simultaneously, they may be working with our victim services staff who may be helping walk them through the process of wherever they may be in their needs.
Okay, so Greater Impact is the 501c3 organization that's been established by you all.
One of them, anyway. Yes.
One of them. Okay.
Now, who is the brains behind the Greater Impact? Obviously, you know this is something that you can't even link this with the Church of any church for that matter, but the Church of Christ in particular. And of course, obviously, we all are impacted by such or what have you. So it obviously took a lot of thinking out of the box, you know what I'm saying, in terms of reaching out to people's needs. You know, obviously we have a tendency a lot of times to not involve ourselves into people who don't look like us, who don't smell like us, who don't drive like us, who don't dress like us. So I mean, this is phenomenal what having. So who's the brains behind Greater Impact?
Well, that would definitely be me. I started my career in social services in a violence prevention nonprofit in Kansas City. And essentially, I took those skills I learned there from being in administration, chief operating officer. So I started actually as a volunteer, and then I rose to the COO of the organization. And so through all of those connections and learnings, I took that to the church because I realized that the church didn't know what ministry was. The church understands events. We understand gospel meeting. We understand back to school backpacks, but we don't understand everyday ministry. So our vision was for the church to be a one-stop shop. We want you to get everything you need. We want you to get mental health. We want you to get case management, food, clothes, shelter. We want you to get your addictions treatment. If you need a ride to the doctor, we want you to get that. We want everything that you could possibly need within walking distance of your home. Nobody wants to build a mega church. We want to be a neighborhood church.
Come on.
That's saying something there.
We wanted folk to know who we were. So on Sunday morning, when you see those people walking down the street to come to church, it's when you know that you have become a neighborhood church.
Yes.
And that's even while we multi-site versus building a giant edifice that holds everything, we just multi-site and go into communities, and we bring our ministry with us into different communities.
Branden, you said something that of course, I always try to get some type of word during my travels during the week. I try to get some stuff in between these years. And you said something about having a mega church as opposed to, now you can have 1,000 people at your church, but where is God waiting in all those people that are at the church?
Yeah.
So you know what I'm saying? So obviously, and you mega church or non-mega church or whatever you guys are doing, I mean, it has an impact. You meet people where they are, and when you stain them, whether they need clothes, food, whatever the case may be, they remember those things or what have you. So, and this is beautiful.
Yeah.
So when we started, when we got serious about community ministry, we probably had less than 100 people on Sunday morning, and probably less than that showing up. And then within the last, 36 months, the church has tripled or quadrupled since that time. And so we grow at a rate that we are struggling to manage. The average church grows at about 5% a year. So if you think about having 100 members, if you grew by 5, you would be the average church. We started growing at 100% a year over the last few years. And so it made us have to go into different facilities, construction projects faster than we anticipated. Just every problem, every good problem you can have with growth is what has occurred.
Yeah, I like how you put that, having good problems or what have you. So, but yeah, it's a beautiful situation you guys got going on.
Listen, Branden, in this article, it said, Branden Sharee, actually, it says not deterred by shootouts. This is a
we are not deterred by shootouts
in the article, right? And so it says not deterred by shootouts. Why? Because the church done been hit. They right there in the crux of Branden, tell us, okay, you've had gunfire right outside the church
several times.
And
wow.
And even the building itself has been hit. Why is it important for you to stay in that area instead of relocating?
Well, we came in on purpose. So when we first began, we were a destination church, meaning everybody drove in from the suburbs.
Right.
And I had a thought process of turning the ghetto into a gold mine. And so we went into the community. We bought up every piece of property we could find. And I said, we're gonna be here on purpose. And so where there's a fire, you bring a fire hose. And so we intentionally came. We knew we would get shot at. We knew the building would get hit. We knew all of this. And so we have a bullet patching team at the church, part of our facilities maintenance crew, that 3 or 4 times a year, they patch the bullet holes that have hit the church.
Wow.
Whether they hit and we put a metal roof on it so that when they shoot up in the air, it doesn't come through the church. So they'll go and literally every 4th of July, every New Year's Eve, random shootings. They'll go in, the team will patch the bullet holes. And you probably saw that we have one of our members leads a program that repairs homes that have been shot up.
Wow.
Which is a program that I led for the county for a number of years. I even led the crime scene cleanup team for 5 years, where we went into crime scenes and we cleaned them up. And so I remember I would come home and she knew when I had been at a crime scene, because I would have to take everything off in the garage before I came into the house.
Absolutely.
Wow. Yeah. He said turn the ghetto into a gold mine.
Bullet patching, what do you call it? A bullet patching ministry? What is it?
We got a bullet patching team on our facilities maintenance group.
You know what's crazy is even at the congregation where Kelly and I currently are, it's unfortunately most churches are in the neighborhoods, in the bad neighborhoods, on the MLKs, which is where our church that we currently serve.
Not unfortunately, fortunately.
Well, I'm glad. I stand corrected, preacher. I mean, I stand corrected. And fortunately, we're in that neighborhood where services like this are needed or what have you. And we had a shooting to where a bullet, and it wasn't, and my wife would tell you, I love guns and knives. I know it sounds crazy or what have you, but
me too.
Yeah. Got several of
Don't
them.
tell them people that.
But it is what it is. You better approach carefully. But it was a high-powered rifle that shot at the church, Branden, and it pierced 4 walls.
Yeah.
And, me and one of the brothers there, I call him tax collector. He's an accountant.
He's an accountant,
and
but we call him Matthew, the tax collector.
But his name is Herb Martin, man. And this guy, he's almost 80 years old, Branden, man, and he's just so spry. He just gives me encouragement, man, to have something to look forward to when I get his age or what have you. But he and I were a part of that, involved in making sure that nobody saw it. So how some people are, they see stuff like this, like, okay, well, this is not a safe church to be at or whatever, and we don't want people to feel unsafe, but be aware at the same time, at the same token or what have you. And so, but yeah, this is way different, man. I mean, I can see why you guys stand out among the rest.
You heard that that saying grabbed you, but what grabbed me was turn the ghetto into the gold mine. That's what grabbed me. I love that statement. So Branden, a couple things. Then Sharee, I want to come to you. I got a question I really want to ask you and see, because y'all are around this every day. Y'all are right there in it. And thank you for helping us with that perspective and seeing that. No, we are in the right place. I'm telling you, I'm from Baltimore.
That's beautiful.
And in Baltimore, we was on the west side, right in the hood. Then I moved to Daytona. We was off of MLK in the hood. Then we moved to Orlando. We was in the hood. And now we here off of MLK in the hood. Right? And so you're absolutely right to reframe that and say, no, we are in the right place. That's in beautiful. Community. Yeah. And speaking of community, you and your team, y'all spend Sundays preaching in the pulpits, and then Monday through Thursday or Friday, I think you said, you're tackling violence reduction. What does that rhythm look like for you? Like, you see the church as, do you see the church as something separate from the community, or should the church actually be the community?
Absolutely, yeah. Well, to your first question about the rhythm of it. So our ministry operates 7 days a week. Wow.
Oh,
yeah.
Sunday too.
Sunday through Friday, Sunday through Saturday. Yeah, it's a 7 day a week ministry. The church is always open. There's always someone there. And even when the doors are closed, someone is on call.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And so if you could call at any time of the day and somebody's going to pick up and give you whatever you need. And so we, again, from my time working in community, the point was to build an actual ministry. The challenge with the churches is we don't really give the community what it needs. And so everybody then turns to nonprofits and those community agencies, which Sharee and I got our start in those. But you ought to be able to go to the kingdom. So what we do with Greater Impact is that we filter everybody through the kingdom.
Nice.
Greater Impact helps us meet your immediate need, but our ultimate goal is to bring you to Christ. But we can't talk about your spiritual if you're worried about your physical.
Come on.
So we just address it all.
Yeah. I'm glad you said that, because later in the article it talks about how it's Chalmers and what's your other guy name? Say it again.
Cedric Finley.
Cedric Finley. And so it was interesting to see that they go out and they say, "You hungry? Your lights about to be cut out. Is your water paid?" Like you said, like Sharee said earlier, we can't get to this part because I don't even know where my next meal coming from. Right. And it's the same thing in the division, the schools, the D schools, and things like that. Them kids coming in, they hungry. Right. They can't focus on work. They're not doing well in school because they hungry. And so the physical need first, like when Jesus fed the 5,000, them people, they was out there listening to him, but they got hungry.
Yeah.
And he knew he had to feed them.
Mhm.
So if he knew and understood physical, you know, here go the physical food. Now, why you full off of this? Let me shove this spiritual down you.
Yeah.
But I want to say this too, because I like to advocate for the churches. One of the things Brother Neil said was that he's not seen a church like this. And we hear that all the time. And people love to say, well, why don't more churches do this? So I like to advocate for the churches. The community that we serve and most of these Black churches are in cannot afford the type of church it needs. And so if the churches had budgets that could accommodate a staff like ours, well, we have multiple therapists, multiple ministers, multiple outreach people, I'm sure they would do it. But the average Black church in this country cannot afford to put together a ministry like we have. And so that's why I believe more churches don't do it, because they just simply can't afford it.
Wow. That's why you need to teach them. You need to go.
Yeah,
you need to go on tour.
We talk about the Church of the Christ or whatever, but I think it needs to be changed to the Church of Love. So we're reminded of that. Love is an action, and obviously, what you guys doing, you're loving your community or whatever, and people, it's leaving a stain on folks, man, and they're gravitating towards greater metropolitan. You know what I'm saying? That's a beautiful thing.
I agree with that 100%. Having worked in community mental health and community services, I have my background, my education is in social work.
Okay.
Having worked in various nonprofits, just the field of social work, the type of populations we serve, the very vulnerable, the very oppressed populations, you have to show up authentic. You have to show up genuine. They can sniff that out a mile away. And so I think our team is so unique and special because we bring that character to the work that we do. And that's who those individuals, that's who our clients are meeting. And so they say, this is real. There's got to be something more to this. And the more to it is Jesus. And so the more that they have those encounters with us, they're really getting an encounter with God.
Right.
And so when they have that experience and say, wow, you cared enough about me to feed my babies tonight. Wow, you cared enough to keep the appointment and to help me find somebody that can keep my lights on. What time does service start on Sunday?
You know, Pastor Finley loves to tell the story. If he was here, he would definitely tell it. We pulled up to the church one day, and there was a young lady who was prostituting right out front, and we interrupted her by driving up. She wasn't in the act, but she was negotiating. And so I said, both of y'all come on in the church. Her and the John. And he ran off. She came in the church, and Pastor Finley and I talked with her, and we said, what is it going to take for you to come off the streets today and to go into treatment? She said, I owe my drug dealer $300. He's not going to let me go until I pay him. So Pastor Finley and I said, call the drug dealer, tell him come by the church, we got cash.
Mercy. And
that day we dropped her off at treatment, and that's what we do. And so when someone asks, they say, you're gonna give this drug dealer $300 for her. I said, well, that's redemption. We practice redemption. We say Jesus paid the price for us. And so if I can purchase her salvation in a way for $300 and send her to treatment,
mercy,
then that's money well spent. That's better than buying Facebook ads.
Man, that's a pretty good investment. Wow. I mean, that's unheard of.
Can we just sit right there? Can we just sit right there for a minute? Did y'all hear what he just said?
Yeah, that's redemption.
Because somebody would condemn you and say, you don't gave the man $300.
So yeah, the deal we made was when she crossed the threshold into treatment, we would pay him. She went to treatment, we paid her. And we took her cell phones so he couldn't reach her.
Now, some of your preacher friends will say, you baptizing the wrong people. What you doing? What you say to that? What you say to that? Come on. Because you well versed. Come on, give me good verse here. What you say
You
that?
know,
Branden, what are you doing?
we have been hearing that for forever. You're baptizing. What my former congregation, one of the reasons I left, they told me I was baptizing bills. You just baptize people that need help. They just bills. And there's a Latin theologian that I love to quote named John Shabrino, who says God has a preferential option for the poor. And so we have a preferential option for the poor and the oppressed. And what's interesting is they're generally not looked at as people who can financially support the ministry. Actually, truth be told, they just simply give the money to God that they used to give to the crack dealer. But aside from that, God took care of the money problem because we were doing the work.
Seek ye first.
Yeah. Well, the person who leads our recovery division, she used to have a $600 a day habit.
Well, I mean, where does that money come from? Oh my
She was a high-powered executive at a big firm, and she fell into drug addiction. And she pulled the money out of her retirement, her investments, everything.
Wow.
And so when the face of drug addiction doesn't always look like what we think it does.
Right.
So that person just went from giving her money to the drug dealer, and now she gives it to the kingdom.
Nice.
Come on.
That ain't $600 a day. She didn't spend that.
That's the thing with drugs and dope. And I mean, if you've been, in the streets and around or what have you, Branden, I mean, people, it just, I'm very afraid of it, needles and all that stuff, man. But, once you get that high, you keep chasing, you keep chasing, you never get back to that high, and they will do anything, $600 a day, anything to get back to that high, and you never reach that high again. And the dope boys love that. You know what I mean? They know what time it is.
But you know what Nietzsche once said in criticizing the church? He said that religion was the opiate of the people. As if to say that this belief in God keeps us high in an induced state. And so he meant it for a negative. Well, I turned it around and I tell the addicts, trade your addiction and then get some of this opium that we call Jesus.
Wow.
And that'll give you a better high feeling than you've ever had.
Yeah.
That's why our praise and worship has to be high.
Absolutely.
I was high Sunday.
Yeah, very.
I'm telling you now.
It's hard to get back to that high if you don't have the tools and people in place to
we worship Sunday with y'all. Them people was dancing in the aisle. Them people had something to rejoice about. Do you hear me?
Yeah. But but let's talk about that though. If you're going to do the work we do, your church culture has to be one of celebration.
Absolutely.
Because you can't tell a person who we literally have pulled out of a crack house that they need to control their praise or sit on their hands.
Sit on your hands.
They while I'm preaching, they'll get up and run.
Let them run. Leave them alone. Let them run. Y'all brought that wet wood in here. Let them run. Let them burn.
But that's some of the work that I do with Greater Recovery, which is our addictions ministry, is the processing of what got you to that place. And what is now, what are you trading, right? Like you were seeking a high because maybe you were repressing some emotions, repressing some experiences. Let's talk about that, get that out. And then let's trade it for some healthy habits. Right? Like let's get you addicted to the things that are good for you, that are positive for you. And for many of them, there's been so many baptisms that have come out of that Greater Recovery ministry. Because some people just come for the AA, the NA, the CA groups, but a lot of them have become members of the church, members of the body. And so, a lot of them are learning to give God what he deserves instead of giving the streets and giving.
We've got about a 90% conversion rate.
Wow.
And retention.
But and the retention piece, I have to give kudos to my wife because she is helping them process through their mental. Then it is not just a knee-jerk reaction to a good sermon. But it is, we're teaching them how to then walk through this life. And her and then our recovery staff And we got a phenomenal team of people who just do great work. We see about 600 addicts a month. We host 20 different meetings at our facilities, and we even go into treatment centers, and they call it bringing the message to the treatment centers. And so that's where we get all of these addicts from, or recovering addicts from.
So the people are actually coming to the church, and you have rooms in the church. They're set up. They're meeting with you, Sharee. When you get up and go to work tomorrow, you're going to the church.
So sometimes I'm meeting with people individually for therapy, but every Saturday morning I do a processing group, and it's an open processing group. So anyone that is in recovery can come and sit down, meet with us for an hour, and we talk about life recovery. Not everyone that comes to group is a former addict of some type of substance. Some of them are just recovering from life, right? It's hard. Depression, anxiety, trauma, abuse, different things like that. And so that happens every Saturday. But if some of the clients that we serve need some individual support, and I do that as well.
Let me stay right there on you, right? Now, Sharee. So you're dealing with this every day, right? And the article highlights that everyone referred to greater impact has been touched by violence in some way. What is it like for you to carry those stories week after week?
Yeah.
And has there been anything that you're a mother of two. Stories I know that children are affected, children are abandoned, children, like what is that doing for you? And how are you navigating through not getting so emotional or so
caught up?
How are you navigating through that?
You know, a long time ago, I had to realize I used to do sex offender treatment in one of the maximum security prisons in Kansas. And that was probably the hardest work that I've ever done. Some of the hardest work I've done, absolutely. And I struggled. And I prayed about it because I really feel called to this work. And I had to recognize that I'm a vessel in this work. And as a vessel, I'm not holding it. It is going through. I'm not a trash can to just hold for people to just dump.
That's right.
I'm a vessel. And as a vessel, I try to be a good steward of work. Meaning I understand the privilege that I have to hold space for the people that we serve. And therefore, I don't have to be everything to them. I'm not God.
Right.
I'm not their savior. God has equipped me with my own life experience. He's equipped me with knowledge and education to support them, but I can't be everything. Sometimes I'm planting a seed, but I can't be the dirt, the sun, the water.
That's right.
I can't do all of that. I have to be
I know that's right.
That needs me to be, and sometimes that looks different.
Yeah.
But I still recognize my own humanness. I have to recognize my own vulnerabilities. I have to recognize what are my touch points. And then I have to back up, and maybe I need to refer out because this feels a little too close.
Right.
Maybe I have to do what is best ultimately for the client and also what is best for me as a clinician. But I think at the end of the day, I have to remember God is using me.
Yeah.
He's not called me to be anybody's savior.
Right.
He's using me in this work. It's not easy work. It's not easy work at all, because as a clinician, as a therapist, as a Christian, as a wife, as a mother, as a Black woman, a lot of the clients that we serve are Black men and women, teenagers and children. And I have to recognize that, and that creates a tenderness, but I can only do what God has called me to do.
That's right.
Every day.
Obviously, Sharee, he's gifted you in a lot of areas or what have you. So you have to have you obviously, your head is crowned with wisdom and discernment, and to know what situations to get involved in or what not to get involved in. You know, of course, I'm looking at you. You're a pretty lady. I'm saying in front of Branden. But I mean,
I just said it about your wife a few minutes ago.
Yeah, I heard you. I appreciate that. But at the same token, man, people take advantage of your kindness, and you know, they look at the cover and be like, okay, well, let me you know, look around, let me, you know, grab or what have you. So what about your safety? I mean,
yeah. You know, again, early in my career, I used to be like, God, why this assignment? Why this again? This area, this population, this part of the city again? Like, give me some soft work. But I know that it was all preparation for where I am now. And through that, I've had to learn boundaries. If you know anything about me, I like ethics. I like boundaries.
you have to.
I like rules. I'm a rule follower.
That's a favorite word, boundaries.
And I show up.
Yeah.
I show up like that. I'm still my authentic self.
Yeah.
You got to know what it is.
Yeah.
Because again, the same way that they need someone to show up as their most authentic self in doing this work, I also am not a fool that I don't know who I'm serving. Right? And that's not an indictment on anybody. It just is what it is.
Yeah.
And so I'm always mindful of that. And then my husband supports me. There will be times where clients can only meet me in the evening after sort of the office staff have left. And so say they can't come until 5:30 or 6 o'clock in the evening. He'll be in his office with the door slightly cracked while I'm in my office meeting with them.
Just
you hear me holler out, what to come do. But so we have some of those mechanisms in place. But I'm thankful for the experience God has given me leading up, that I feel comfortable and confident to do this work.
Yeah, that you're gifted, and I often have to remind, you know, myself, my wife, and the members in our group, you know, which we get, you know, accolades about, you know, all of y'all can sing this, that, and the other, whatever. But you know, God gave us those gifts, and they're for us to use, you know, to bring Him glory or what have you. And so a lot of times we have to remind ourselves, you know, we get some people like, where are we going this weekend? Well, I don't want to go there, but that's not your decision. It's not your gift. You know what I'm saying? It's not your, you know what I mean? And we get beside ourselves. We get, you know, arrogant and pompous, and you know, if He were to take that gift away from you, what would you do? You know, so you have to be careful with, you know, how you use what He gave you.
Yeah.
You know what I was just thinking about? One of our offices actually has police stationed in it. And I still would rather do the protecting. I thought about that.
That's funny. So Sharee, you know how morticians can become numb to death. You don't have any of that numbness feeling. It's all just too fresh every time, right? Just like it was the Valentine's Day shooting with the lady, and there was a bunch of kids involved or something like that. The article spoke of Valentine's Day shooting that killed Lisa Lopez Galvin.
The parade.
Yeah.
You know, I have to be mindful not to become jaded to the work. There's probably very little that I haven't heard, given the different settings that I've worked in. I've heard a lot. I have seen things that I don't want to tell the details to anybody else, that I don't want to share stories with anybody else. It's that sensitive, sometimes that graphic, sometimes that painful. So I just have to be mindful not to become jaded to that. And in order to not become jaded, I have to reconnect, because it's easy to sort of disassociate while doing that, because, that's hard. But I know it's hard when I get out of a session and I don't want to do the note. I'm avoiding typing that note. Then I need to pause. Then maybe I need some supervision. Then maybe I need to consult with another therapist. And maybe I need to go back and do something. Maybe I need to pray and meditate on what this experience is like. So again, it's always remaining connected to the why, remaining connected to God, who has given me this gift. And I truly believe each person that I encounter in this work is an assignment. I believe God ordained that meeting. And so I'm always thinking about, what is the purpose here, Sharee? That's beyond how you feel in this moment. That's beyond the resistance that's there. Stay present, stay grounded. And that helps me to reconnect. Maybe I do need a break, and maybe I need to do the note in a few hours.
Yeah.
But sometimes I don't want to relive what I just heard.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's honest. That's honest. I've worked with kids in the past. I was a forensic interviewer, meaning I was the ears and the voice for children that experience violence. And so I would go to court and get on stand and be their voice to testify to the events that occurred.
Wow.
And I realized I didn't want to work with children. I couldn't do that.
Right.
And so I had to be honest about that. So I mainly work with adults. We have a child therapist on staff that works with our littles. But you got to also go in the path that you feel competent.
Yeah.
Too.
Yeah.
Everybody can't do everything.
That's right.
We talked about the brains. Fred asked that question about the brains behind it. But Branden, tell us why. The article says you trace your passion for urban ministry back to the death of your cousin David. Our condolences to you and your family still for that. Can you share a little bit of that story or how it shaped your calling? Like the article also says you grew up poor. I don't believe that, but that's what it said.
That's my wife.
But like, give me the why. What was the turning point on in the calling? We've talked about greater impact, but why? What was that?
Yeah. David said it was good that I was afflicted. And that's kind of the mantra of my life and ministry is I had a challenging upbringing, and so the affliction birthed all of this. That was purpose in all the pain. So my cousin David was killed when I was a freshman in college at Georgia State before I ultimately would go to Southwestern. And when I was, I had been asked by one of my elders to consider going to Southwestern to preach. And I grew up poor, and I had only heard Church of Christ preachers complain about the pay. I said, well, I grew up, I don't want to live my life poor. I mean, I'm a Church of Christ preacher. They'll tell you they ain't making nothing. And so I went for planning and economic development at Georgia State University. I went to J. Mac Robinson College of Business. So while I was there, my cousin David was gunned down and ran over, and his girlfriend at the time was about 6 months pregnant. And so he never even got to see his child be born. So while I was at the funeral, I was just staring at his casket, and I realized that I had never seen a U-Haul behind the hearse. And so it didn't matter how much I amassed in life, I couldn't take it with me.
That's right.
So I got up in the middle of the service. I walked out. I called Elder David Logan from the Renaissance Church of Christ in Atlanta, where I'm from. And I said, I'll go to Southwestern. And at the end of that semester, I packed up my car and I drove to Terrell, Texas. And so, but the thing that got me those, in the obituary, there's a picture of David coming up out of the baptismal water. And he had gotten baptized just weeks before he was killed. He was trying to turn his life around, but his past caught up with him. And so that has fueled my inner city passion for folk who need it. We can't all want to just go after the upper middle class families that can help us build buildings. Someone has to go after the least of those. And we just realized, my wife and I together, that our ministry is to the least of those. And sure, our church is filled with folk from all walks of life. We've got folk who are well off and folk that are poor. But at Greater Metro, there's an equality. So the doctor sits next to the McDonald's worker.
Nice.
And we worship in a state of inner equality, because we know that the ground at the foot of the cross is level.
And that's our problem as a church, Branden, man. We have a tendency to reach out to folk that that we feel like can help us,
Mm-hmm.
you know, in our situation. When you're doing okay for yourself, but there's people out there that are doing a lot worse than you get, you know, than you can imagine or what have you. And so you guys are obviously, you know, busybodies as far as because all of these subtitles and titles as far as the backgrounds and where people come from or what have you. So it takes some discernment and who to reach out to and who to help and things of that nature, what have you. So you guys are unbelievable. I mean, this is unreal. I can't believe I'm sitting listening here
Right.
or what have you. So it's crazy.
I don't know if we even realize it.
Right.
This is kind of what we do.
Well, Branden, let me ask you this. So I told you earlier I'm from Baltimore, right? Which has had its deadliest year in 2015, I think it was. 344 homicides.
Wow.
Baltimore, we was killing it, like literally. And that was following the Freddie Gray's death. Kansas City also continues to wrestle with high homicide rates. So from your perspective, you or Sharee can answer this. What are the common threads in cities like ours? And how can the church respond differently to truly bring about change?
Sure. One of the biggest common threads is divestment. So you will find that in those areas where homicides are the highest, you're going to find some of the highest rates of poverty. A lack of affordable housing. I'm sure the education systems are not good. I'm sure there's high rates of unemployment. All those things kind of go hand in hand. And so one of the things that we have tried to do is to address it from an economic standpoint. That's just one way to address it. But the church can do a lot. I mean, we developed a workforce development program, which when we were talking at dinner that night, we talked about our security business. All those are workforce development programs. We've partnered with major corporations to get it done. We're still working on a program with Burns and McDonnell, which is one of the largest design firm construction company build firms in the world. And so we're wanting them to employ people from our community who otherwise would not have that opportunity. So I would say to the church that we can get creative. The average church's ministry budget is between 5 and 10%. So if you think about it, you got a $300,000 budget, you're going to spend anywhere from $15,000 to $30,000 on ministry. I want you to consider that. That means $270,000 that is going to non-ministry related things. And so we've got to somehow flip that on its head and get serious about ministry and community outreach.
I think one of the things that contributes to violence is a lack of community connection, a lack of no sense of community, right? The more connected that we feel to places, to people, we protect it, right? We stand up for it. We don't allow it to be driven into the ground, or we don't want our neighbors hurt. We don't want their property destroyed. And so I think community connection and partnership is important. When I think about some of the relationships we've built with people in the community, they know we're there. They know we care. They know they can call the church. Hey, this is the only number I remembered, and I need some help. I don't know if you all do this, but I need some help. I sat next to someone that was really kind on Sunday. I don't remember their name, but I need some help. So I think that making those connections may allow them to come to us for support versus committing a violent act to get a need met.
So, Branden, you mentioned connecting with the corporations and things like that, or what have you. So, what does that look like when you're ethnic church going to these corporations asking for? Of course, they might look at it as handouts. Now, say, here comes another one. So I mean, what does that look like when you step into these corporations and?
Well, I mean, to your point, sometimes you're asking for a check, and then sometimes you're asking for opportunity.
Yes,
which depends on what it is. So for instance, it may be We ask, what area are you struggling with? Where do you need bodies? What do you need people? What opportunity is there? And then we will develop a program that addresses their need, but using people from our community. So there are plenty of people that work for us in our workforce development program that are not even members of our church. We probably have at least 15, 20 people that work in our workforce development program that are not members of our church and actually have probably never been there.
Wow.
And so, because there's a bigger picture at play,
right?
But those same people, when they get on the job sites, have to circle up and pray with us. Hear one of our ministers who's there that day give a sermonette or whatever the case may be, or they see some of our members who work there praying together, and then they will bring them to church at some point. And so for most of our congregations, we are very self-centered, meaning that if you don't go to our church, then we're not trying to help you or give you opportunity. We don't care. It connect with one of our ministries in any way and give us time, we'll get you. We go get you. You just give us time.
It's just a matter of time, like you said. You remove self out the way, and and just keep planting them seeds, and God He'll do the watering at some point. They'll sprout, and they'll. That's beautiful.
It is. I got just a couple more questions, and then I'm gonna jump to that chat because that chat is going off, giving y'all praises and hearts and all that type of stuff. And I like to read from the chat. Church as a safe place. I want to talk about that right quick. I like what there was an official that said something about you all, like, the police, they have social workers too, but the police still have badges. It was something like that. Police still have badges, so the people ain't gonna talk for so much like they talking to you, Sharee, right? And so it's talking about how the church is a safe place because you seem more on their level, instead of like that badge is going to scare them from sharing as much as they possibly could or whatever, right? And so one of the officials says the collaboration between a government agency and a faith-based organization has not created issues. Some people would think church and state, we mix and we ain't doing that. We don't want to get involved with that. What would you say to the preacher that's listening and say, I would like to do that, but I just think it might be too, it might clash, or if something goes awry, like help that preacher that's saying, I like that, but come on.
That's a great question. One of the things is most preachers believe that somebody's going to come and tell them what to preach.
Wow.
That is the most common thing I hear. They gonna start saying, I got to preach this and I can't preach against this or that. And that's not what it is at all. The parts of our church and our ministry that receives government funds and everything else is completely separate from the church. Has its own board of directors, its own accountants, its own bank accounts, its own lawyers, everything that we have. It's separate, and we keep the entities separate legally for that purpose. And so I would tell any preacher who's interested in doing it to do what we've done: file separate nonprofit or 501c3 statuses, and just make sure you're following the rules of the government, the IRS, and everything else. I tell every preacher this: paying taxes is essential.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to pay your employment taxes and everything else that comes along with it. But it's doable, and to date, no one has ever come to tell me what to preach.
So, Branden, you mentioned that same exact thing at the table when we were eating and had our delectable meals. They were
at JJ's.
At JJ's.
When they had shut down.
Look at Sharee. She said, "Ooh."
We went to Sharee. We went to JJ's. They was closed. Yeah. We came through. I was like, where we going? I felt like, listen, let me tell you something. He opened that back door. We came through like the side pocket part, the speak easy part, where you got to say the word to get in. It was absolutely, and those people, this is how I saw with my own eyes. Y'all are in this community. When them people supposed to clock out and they stay and them chefs didn't get off, and those people served y'all with a smile on their face after hours. We was in there by ourselves, honey. We had the whole restaurant to ourselves.
Wow, nice.
That was beautiful.
I'm sorry, I cut you. I forgot
what I was gonna ask.
You said when we was eating, y'all talked about
Something about the taxes.
The taxes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tell them about the gun line, boss.
So, Branden, obviously, you got some preachers that cheating on the taxes, not paying the taxes. What?
No.
I mean, okay, speak to that.
Most congregations make their preachers 1099.
Okay.
So he then is responsible for his own employment taxes. And so when you are receiving government grants, etc., they would prefer you be a W-2 employee, that the church then is paying payroll taxes on you. It just looks better. And
I got
so, you receive $1 million government grant and you ain't paid nobody payroll taxes.
Oh, wow.
They start suspecting something.
Right.
Some math is not mathing here. What's going on?
And,
so what
people don't want to do that because they got to be accountable and run business, and they just want to go to church Sunday and preach, and that's too much work. They don't want to do that.
Mm-hmm.
So your recommendation, you said W-2s and all that. So what's your recommendation as far as they should be set up in that manner to where they have that in black and white? I mean, what does that look like?
So yeah, if you were to start a separate nonprofit at your church and you start receiving government funds, I always recommend to make the majority of your staff W-2 employees. You can have some contractors, 1099 status, whatever the case may be, but you want to be making a good faith effort to be a good neighbor, a good citizen, a good recipient of that award, and pay your taxes as you should.
To your knowledge, what percentage of churches are not set up accordingly?
That'd be hard for me to quantify, but I would say a good bit of them. I would say probably most of our congregations are 1099, the preachers, but that's because they usually can't afford to pay the 7.65% in payroll taxes on the preacher. So we budget 10%. So for every employee, I have to add 10% to their salary just to cover their taxes. And that doesn't include their health insurance benefits or retirement benefits. I'm paying 10% just on their FICA and their employee taxes.
Right.
Wow. This is great. You need to go on tour with this. Just one more question, then I'm gonna get into that chat. One of your volunteers said, I think this was Tony, the MC. She was great, by the way. The MC for the night. But in the article, she said, we've got to continue to spread the love and gospel of Jesus to show people there are alternatives and to see value in their own life so they can value others.
Yeah.
That is profound. That's a member at your church said that.
Tony actually leads one of our workforce development teams.
So the people at the church,
that's crazy.
The whole church just work at the
almost.
That's providing jobs.
Well, that was the goal. You can't ask people to give money that they don't have. I discovered that.
I say that all the time. We preach at people about giving, but we don't teach them how to make the money. You know what I'm saying? How to go get the money.
Good preachers create economy.
That part. But it's crazy. I just heard something about we talk about the gospel. Most of us know the gospel is a death, burial, and resurrection of Christ or whatever. But that was Christ's gospel. But the implications of that is what we don't understand and what we're not taught or in church or whatever. The implications of it. He died for us.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. We always talk about the gospel, the death, burial, resurrection. That's the only thing I've ever heard since I got in the Church of Christ or what have you. So gospel, death, burial, resurrection. But what is it to you? There's implications behind why he did what he did. He did it for me. He did it for you, Branden. He did it for you, Sharee. And we have to stay mindful of that or whatever. And so we make all the excuses. I'm listening to something today, man. I think the guy was over in Mark. It's either Mark or Matthews, one of the gospel whatever, and he's talked about how I think Mark pointed it out, and this is what I learned today or whatever. And Mark was more he gave more details about, you know, Jesus going on the cross. About he I think he said they hung him at 9 o'clock and he was there to 3 or whatever. And so, and the message was, you know, I think I know the title of the message was "Hang in there." A lot of times, you know what I'm saying, we just so ready to give up. And these guys was spitting at him, putting him like, yeah, he saved others, but he can't save himself or whatever. And little do they know, you know what I'm saying? Him hanging on that cross, you know what I'm saying, up there despised and naked, and they poking him. Man, I would have told my daddy to destroy all of them that did that to me, man. But that's why we're, you know, neither one of us are not Jesus himself or what have you. So we have to understand the implications of why he did what he did for ourselves personally.
Yeah, absolutely.
Branden, this I love this quote, and I want to read this because I thought this was beautiful. Let me find it right quick. Say, I should have put my readers on for tonight. It says, the church, in a sermon, Branden Mims, that's you, likened the role of greater impacts ministers to that of spiritual paramedics. I love that. When we hit these streets, y'all, he told the fellow Christians, all we're doing is walking up to people and doing CPR on their hearts.
Wow.
And the drops the mic. That right there, Sharee. Listen, y'all have said some profound things tonight, some eye-opening things tonight, some things to help us reframe, some things to help us see a different perspective. And I just wish that we could catch on like everywhere and in all communities, because I just named you 4 places that I've lived over my life. And it's been my church that I've attended has been in the hood. If we could all be on one accord with that, and you all are really literally making disciples. That's why I titled the podcast that tonight. Y'all are actually doing what God said do. Go. We get so comfortable and so complacent just preaching to ourselves and not in the community. And like you called out the backpacks and the giveaways. Sometimes you have those food drives and those giveaways, those backpacks, and the people come get that food and you don't see them ever again.
That's right.
What is the purpose? What have you done with, the retention, getting them to come and stuff like that? And so I just so appreciate you all's grinding and getting down to it, get into the physical needs so that the transformation can start happening, working. The transformation can come because they're not worried about the things that the everyday life. And to me, that's a strategy in and of itself. We be trying to just dip them. And it's like,
we often tell people when they come through our doors, your entire life can change today and right now. We can take you from the streets and we can put you in, we can give you someplace to stay. We can work on your mental health, get your clothes, groceries, everything. We can literally change your life instantly if you come through our doors. And that was our goal.
And that's saying a bit much, man. You get most people that are coming off the street, you get their attention when you say change my how you gonna do that? You know what I'm saying? So
but it seems like they really love, like, being in y'all's presence the other day, like Chalmers was saying, he's actually gone to these places and gotten them to stop the addictions, and of course it's God, right? But talking to them, and like they adjust to y'all and adapt to y'all, and like you said, you don't have a badge on, so they feel some kind of connection with y'all, you know what I'm saying? And it's not just Black people, you got white people in there as well too, right? It's all walks of life. And I just commend y'all for not being afraid to deal with those that don't quite look like us, but actually they really were us. They just made a decision. Right?
It's funny you say that because we don't have a badge or Bible. We are the walking embodiment of Scripture. We don't have either one. But if you talk to us more than 30 seconds,
they say, "Tell me more."
It's funny you said that, because if you bring that Bible or that badge, they might be afraid of both. But come as you are, meet them where they are, how they are.
Yeah,
that's beautiful.
We don't have to hold the Bible, but we'll show quote it.
That's all right.
Let me get to this chat.
That's all right.
Let me get to this chat. So we got Tracy Jefferson, one of our main supporters. She said, good evening to all. David Watkins III. He said, hey, my son and daughter in the gospel are online. David said Branden A. Mims was the first client of Greater Impact. He got his drug listen to this. He got his drug addiction taken care of through his own ministry. Tell them that story, son.
Wow.
David needs my wife's mental health service.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, something wrong with him.
Yeah, tell her, hey, she gonna have to come with it with that character. You already know.
Listen, let me tell you.
Yeah, handful. You gotta love him though.
He gonna, Blazing Cracker says, I'm with you when you're right about guns, Fred. I have a, see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know Blazing
I have an arsenal. Carol, Antoine says, amen. Tracy Jefferson, I love it having a community church instead of a mega church. That was powerful.
That's big.
That was powerful. Branden and Sharee, wow, that is redemption. What she talking about when y'all paid, y'all said, come on in, we'll take care of you. If they say we made in his image, we image bearers, and y'all imaging.
Yeah. First time a preacher paid for a prostitute and didn't lose his job.
That part.
Vita Hill says, good evening. Okay, Branden and Sharee, you are God sent. Somebody came back behind and said, agreed. Amen. There's no place like greater. Amazing work being done. Do y'all know who Vita is?
That's one of our members. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
She said there's no place like greater. I like the name of it too.
You
it's
said
like
Hill. She was at the table with us, I believe.
Yeah.
Oh, I know her.
Yeah.
I know her. We stand at her house when we come back. I know who you are.
Y'all can use the pool.
She said use the pool.
I know exactly what it is. She ate with us at the Speakeasy Speakeasy place. Thank you, Kelly and Fred, for another great Neil's Appeal podcast. Thank you, Branden and Sharee, for sharing. We got Speak Sis. Amen. You were saying something good, Sharee. I don't know. Somebody said, hey, talk, sir. They just hearts and hearts and hearts going up. Love. A bunch of hearts went up, Branden, for the loss of your cousin. Hey, y'all. Blazing has entered the chat. Let me see. Let me go to the other one. This says, you all are truly a blessing to the community. True examples of making disciples. That's why I named the show that. Exactly. That's exactly why I made the show that, because again, we get so complacent and so comfortable just staying within the four walls, not getting out and getting to the community. And y'all have definitely expressed that and shown that and modeled that. And we just want y'all to keep that up. If you could leave our Neil Appeal guests, Fred, let me make sure I didn't miss anybody on the YouTube.
Well, let me say this while you're looking at that, whatever. Branden, obviously you guys are doing kingdom work or what have you. And obviously you're positioning people to where they can make a difference, not only at your church, but in the community itself or what have you. So, I mean, this is kingdom business or what have you. And so, and obviously you guys are keeping the kingdom first.
Yep.
Absolutely. And that's what we say often, that it's kingdom business.
It's kingdom business, dude.
Yeah. Truly. What would you say? Help us with I want to say this before we go. You're baptizing people every single week, without fail. Sometimes people who just came in looking for recovery meetings, they're wind up walking out saved. How do you cultivate an environment where discipleship is so natural and constant? How are y'all doing that?
Wonderful question. You want to go first? You want me to go? Okay. I say this often, and it kind of messes with Black people a little bit, but we didn't seek to build a Black church. We sought to build the church.
That's what's up.
And so it's a place where people from all walks of life can come. I'm sure you guys saw the all of the shades of hue
Yes.
in the church.
Yes.
And that's because we believe that the church is a place where all nations flow into it.
Mm-hmm.
And so we made it vanilla enough that anybody can enjoy it. And I mean, obviously, you know, there's still some our culture is still there, right?
Of course.
But we wanted it to be a place that folk could come, and so that's really what it is. It's community. It is a community church.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I'm so proud of y'all. I'm so proud to know y'all. I'm so proud that we got an invite to the house and all that. We feel special. I'm gonna be up under your wing, Sister Sharee. I'm be calling Branden. He gonna help me get this.
Take advantage. Take full advantage.
Listen, when you somebody in your vicinity, in your area, they have the knowledge. If you don't glean from that and get something from that, that's foolish to not to me.
Yeah.
And so it's called the Neil's Appeal, because at the end of each show, we want to appeal to our audience. What would you leave with either the preachers, either someone struggling, whatever angle you want to come from, struggling with addiction, preachers who maybe want to do this? Y'all leave us a Neil appeal for our viewers, based off of anything that we, pick any angle you want to talk from tonight, and let's leave them with something to think about, ponder on, or maybe get more information about. Can y'all do that? Oh, can I show y'all? Hold on. I forgot I have your beautiful family I want to show. And I also want to put the website up. Y'all look at that beautiful family. Let me add this to the stage. Look at that. Look, what is she?
You know what she was mad about?
Yeah. Look at the beautiful family. I love it. I love it. I love it. Look at y'all. Y'all are gorgeous. Y'all are like first family.
We get that.
I love y'all. I saw the little boy in your arms Sunday, Branden. It was like you was about to preach, and you know how some of those preachers, sometimes they off in the back. They don't even come out till it's time. You were out mingling, fellowshipping. You had your son. Most times is get him while I'm focused. You were showing family. You know what I'm saying? I saw that as I was singing, and you were walking by and you were talking. Like, I like your hands-on involvement with your church, and it speaks volumes for what you're doing.
And that's probably because he didn't prepare himself on his way to church. He is church. It's in him. You know what I mean? A lot of times guys, they need that few minutes before, because you got to go back and dig up this, that, and the other, whatever. You can't last minute, folks. You know what I'm saying? There are people obviously you guys know there are people that are dealing with suicide. They're dealing with homicide. They're dealing with all kind of sides that you can't even imagine. So you just can't put together a sermon and come up to the church and spew out some stuff or whatever. It's people that are hurting. They need a word, from the Lord.
That was good.
Yeah.
If I could leave you all, if I could leave the viewers with one thing, there is hope. There is hope. There's hope in whatever you might be experiencing. If you're in a mental health crisis, if you are struggling financially, if your marriage feels like it's falling apart, if your children are out there, whatever it is that you might be going through, there is hope. And there's hope in Jesus Christ. There's hope in resources that are out there for you all. If there's anybody that has questions that may not be in the Kansas City, Missouri area, reach out to us.
Beautiful.
We might be able to say, this is what it looks like on our side. see if you can find this there. I've had former members that now live in different states reach out to me. Hey, I have a friend struggling. Which direction should I point them in? I don't know this friend. I don't know the resources, but this is typically what could be available to you.
Beautiful.
And sometimes that's a help. So there is hope no matter what you are experiencing. There's always hope.
Beautiful.
Beautiful. Branden, you got something?
You know, one of my daily scriptures that I live by is when David said, I would have fainted had I not believed I see the goodness of the Lord in the land of the living. And so I live each and every day believing that I can see God's goodness now, and that I'll have to die and go to the other side before
that part.
Goodness. And so that means that God has parceled out some goodness for me.
Yes.
And even though days may be challenging and moments are difficult, and that's what we do. We help people walk them through life, and we help them find God's goodness.
Wow.
Beautiful.
Wow. I love it.
As Pastor Finley would say to me when I'm struggling, because he mentors me all the time.
Right.
He says, preacher, find the good,
Find the good.
fast and first.
That's beautiful.
Find the good.
Fast and first.
Fast and first. I'm gonna have to steal that.
When he getting on my nerves, I say, Sharee, find the good. Fast. Long.
Oh boy.
I love it.
Oh,
I
boy.
love it. So let me see. 4 more came in. Keep doing good work. That's from Teresa M. Benur.
Looks like an African name.
Yeah. And then Love of My Soul 27 said, my preacher, beautiful family, beautiful people. And then Teresa says, yes, Lord, hope is it. She was just coming behind you, what you said, Sharee. Y'all, we love y'all. We thank y'all so much for again accepting our invitation to come on and share this with these people. And what we've heard tonight, y'all, is reminded that discipleship isn't just a Sunday sermon. It is a lifestyle. It's showing up in times of crisis, walking with people in recovery, meeting practical needs. Are you hungry? Are your lights about to get cut off? Pointing hearts back to Jesus. Branden and Sharee, thank you for showing us what it looks like to go and make disciples. May we all leave this conversation with the challenge to move beyond complacency and into real community impact. Y'all have blessed me on tonight. If y'all don't mind, we didn't even do our preliminary, what we normally do, but can we, I'm gonna show my outro. We're gonna meet y'all backstage and get a prayer in, and then we'll let y'all go on and get in the bed and go to sleep.
Thanks for having me.
Anything else you want to say before we go, Fred? Did you have a Neil appeal you got from?
No, I mean they Greater Metropolitan. You know what I'm saying? That's
y'all are awesome.
Tag. You know, remember that game we played when you was younger? Tag.
Yeah.
Y'all
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank y'all so much.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us. We appreciate it. Thank you, Brother Branden and Sister Sharee. That's from Charlotte Battle. Hey, Sister Charlotte Battle. All right, y'all. We're going to play this outro and we'll meet y'all backstage right quick. Wave bye to the people.
Bye. Thank you.